r/AskReddit. What has the COVID-19 virus made you realize? That I was working too hard because of all the suffering. I'm actually kind of ashamed to admit this has been great for my mental health. That my job doesn't care if I die. Edit. Thanks for the upvotes, comments and awards everyone. Having the option to do something and not doing it sucks far less than not having that option at all. Because of the lockdown, I found that people think my preferred way of living is hell. Edit. I did not expect to wake up to all these replies and upvotes. Thanks for all the love, Reddit fam. Stay strong. How many jobs meetings really can be done remotely? That minutes wage workers are way more important than people think, and that people would be screwed without entertainment. That a company can run 5 months without a CEO, but it can't run a single day if workers do not show up all at once one day. How much you touch your face and how often you touch public surfaces. I was not washing my hands enough. I didn't realize how much my work defined who I am. I'm a barber and after a week and a half of not doing it, I feel very incomplete. As cheesy as it may sound, it's my art form and it gives me a lot of meaning. I'm very hopeful, though, that I'll make it through this and be able to do it again. A large portion of this country lives paycheck to paycheck. I've always seen the stats but never fully realized the effect of that until now. Edit. I'm in the US. I miss hanging out with my brother and sister. We're all in our late 20s-ish. I'm the oldest at 30, and the three of us have hung out all day every day for 8 days now. I love it. How much food I actually waste on a regular basis. I always thought we did pretty good about not buying too many groceries or making too much, ordering too much, etc. How wrong I was. I set a goal for our household that we would use up all of our leftovers before making new stuff. It's forced me to be creative and experiment in the kitchen. Really shows you how long your pantry fridge can actually last you. Our system isn't prepared for a big outbreak of some kind of sickness. Just how privileged I am. Don't get me wrong, I have plenty that keeps me up at night, but compared to the trouble a lot of people are in, my worries are nothing. This country is full of people having to choose between risking their family's health versus risking eviction. Folks with parents in nursing homes who they can't visit. People with chronic health conditions who are terrified of a flare-up while the hospitals are full. Hospital workers who are living in their garages because there are PPE shortages at work and they're afraid of infecting their families. I can't imagine how much stress a lot of my neighbors are under right now. Being on quarantine is difficult as duck living out of your car. How much we take for granted that everything just works. That things like a global supply chain just work. That an average Joe like me can, in the dead of winter, reliably expect to see oranges in the produce aisle. How much we now rely on others as a society. Globally, we rely on manufacturing from around the world. Food grown around the world. They rely on our purchasing things. How incredibly connected we can be, with modern ships and airplanes and the internet, and how we didn't realize how fragile that was, or how intricately everything connected. When this all started I didn't care about toilet paper, or food for myself. I only cared about one thing. Was I going to be able to feed my cats? They are broken and spoiled. They have special dietary needs. Would I be able to get a reliable source of DD venison and green pea, or hydrolyzed proteins, or chicken I can boil for my dude who has a sensitive tummy and no teeth? Would the pet stores have enough stock of wet food that he could tolerate? And it humbled and awed me to see an orderly line in front of the vet's office of people maintaining social distance. Isn't it funny? We said to each other what we take for granted. I never thought, one guy hollered, that I would ever be worried about finding food for my dog. That I took so many things for granted, like going to restaurants and just being able to go to a supermarket without worrying about what they may or may not have. That the country is full of wankers and idiots. I'll probably never get to hug my grandpa again and he'll die thinking his family abandoned him. He's over 90 and in a nursing home. He can barely hear and is almost completely blind, so it's very difficult for him to comprehend what's going on and why we can't go see him. That I married the right person. We've been self-isolating for 2 weeks now and being with him makes the biggest difference to my overall happiness. Truck drivers and healthcare workers really are the backbone of this country. Confirmed that celebrities are incredibly out of touch with the real world. We're all in this together from my $40 million mansion. That I'm suddenly really glad my parents are dead. No, seriously, I see everyone so worried about their elderly folk and I just don't have that worry. I'm grateful that I basically practice social distancing every day already. How much my best friend means to me. Heard his voice after a week at home. We are both very introverts, so don't call that much. So when we finally found a game to play together, our first interaction went like this. Me. Hey friend. Hey me. It's good to hear your voice again, friend. I missed you. Me. Missed you too. Edit. I went to sleep and came back to my most upvoted comment ever and even with an award. Thank you. And the game was Fortnite. Because that's the only free game we could play with crossplay. Most people do not understand exponential growth. That many of us, myself included, run on the illusion that everything will be fine. That we'll always be able to keep living as we previously were. But it's completely wrong and things can change very suddenly. We don't expect huge things to disturb our lives. But there's plenty of things that are capable of doing so. Even as I knew the epidemic was coming and talked with my classmates about needing more strict measures, cancelling sport events, big gatherings, and all those things, it was always so distant, so ethereal. We talked about statistics and numbers, with no measurable effects on our lives. Of course, we were saddened by the tragedies we heard about, but there was some kind of disconnection between what was on the news and our daily lives. It's a strange kind of feeling, and I might seem to be speaking nonsense, but it didn't feel tangible or real until a few days after the isolation started. As we had to cancel our graduation trip, we had to worry about our exams, setting up online classes, what's going to happen, and all that. It started to sink in that this was a huge unprecedented event. Options for the future aren't limited to those written on history books, and what will happen tomorrow is uncertain. I feel it's kind of the same with climate change. I'm even studying it to some extent in my degree. I know it will cause scarcity, conflicts, increased natural disasters, and many other things. But I don't think we'll be fully aware of what those mean regarding our own lives until they're at our doorstep. Just as it happened this time. Maybe I had a view that was too sheltered. I might have been naive. I mean, I knew things weren't going to work out on their own. And I was calling for preventative action days before my government did anything. I knew what would happen, but not the real meaning of it. I won't fundamentally change how I live. I won't be in constant fear or something like that just because an asteroid could send it all to hell. But it does help shatter the screen that made the events happening in the news feel a bit otherworldly sometimes. As if what happened there didn't have the potential to make our little bubbles crumble. Australian here. It was pretty clear that our government didn't manage the bushfire crisis very well. Our Prime Minister in particular was totally tone deaf. When this COVID-19 started spreading, I was willing to give the government the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they learned from the bushfire clusterfuck. But no. Every day it is becoming more and more obvious that they are completely terrible at managing a crisis of this magnitude, and it will cost a lot of lives. I have also learned that a lot of Australians are selfish and or stupid. For duck's sake, stop acting like a bunch of hungry coquitos and pull your bloody heads in. Edit. I know it's meant to be tone deaf, or to correct was being a bloody donghead too. Not polluting this place for 2 weeks makes this much of a difference. Edit. Thank you for silver. It's natural human tendency to socialize. Most people are feeling extremely bad without social interaction. Teachers are extremely patient. That really ducking stupid people think toilet paper is a priority. The working class has the most power they've ever had right now. Edit. Speaking from the US, although I'm sure it's true elsewhere. And the downside, likely nothing will come about because of it. We are like butterflies that flutter for a day and think it is forever. Carl Sagan. A huge percentage of Americans pay no attention to world news. We have the benefit of hindsight here and everyone is acting like they don't know what is coming next. My boss couldn't give less of a duck about his employees' health and safety, nor does he trust any of us. We are not an essential business by any means. We could easily work from home. He can afford to give us paid sick leave, but does not. Where I work is one of the most highly infected areas in my state. We were ordered to shut down by the governor, yet we remain open. There was an employee who came into work every day for over a week that was sick with the flu. There are at least 2 employees with compromised immune systems that I know of. A week later, one of those 2 began exhibiting flu-like symptoms, having a compromised immune system. He went to his doctor right away. He was told to self-quarantine. He is now out of work for an indefinite amount of time with no pay. This man already lives paycheck to paycheck due to his medical expenses. After he was quarantined, we were given 1 pack of Clorox wipes and 1 personal-sized bottle of hand sanitizer for the entire office to share. My boss always seemed like a genuinely kind, caring, and understanding man. Now that his money is on the line, his true colors are starting to show. I am stuck in a place between feeling grateful that I still have a job, but disrespected and unappreciated because we can work from home but are not trusted to. We are risking our health and safety as well as that of our families so he won't lose a couple dollars. I will definitely be seeking a new place of employment once things settle down. That I have no real hobbies. Print newspapers might just die because of this. That loss of income is, for me, scarier than the risk of losing my life. I'm a 28-year-old single mom. I have an autoimmune disease, a HAS, and history of ARDS. I am absolutely in the at-risk category. The state I live in has a safer at-home order, where essential businesses still operate. I manage a home improvement company, and we're the most non-essential essential business there is. We don't do any repairs, just work on making houses prettier, basically. But since we can stay open and my bosses are pig-headed fools who don't take the virus seriously whatsoever, I have 2 options. Go to work and risk contracting a potentially deadly illness, or choosing to stay home, where I would not be able to draw unemployment and I could, and most likely would, lose my job. The thing that pisses me off the most is that one of my bosses came in yesterday complaining of feeling sick. We have no work right now. Stay the duck home. Dude, I have 3 vacation days to last me until the end of May and this company doesn't offer sick days or anything like that. I feel so stuck. I need the money so I can feed my kids and keep a roof over their heads. I wish they would just close so I could officially get laid off and draw some unemployment. Sorry, I didn't expect for this to be so long. I guess I needed to vent. That most folks, even those who make $100,000 plus it, are much closer to poverty than they are to being a billionaire. Our success is held together by some hard work, sure, but mostly by luck. How selfish people are. I have lupus, and because of the high demand of Plaquenil, hydroxychloroquine, by people who are misinformed, me and other people with lupus can no longer receive the dosage we were put on by our doctors. I will soon run out and be in a severe amount of pain from joint swelling and rashes, and it will now affect my online classes because I have extreme fatigue and pass out sometimes. It just makes me sad and scared to go back to being in pain. Loss of structure in schoolwork leads to downward spirals and depression. Professors are struggling to provide adequate information and have more difficult tests since they are take home, which leads to a huge disconnect for the students. My university has not provided structured guidelines for the professors to abide by, so it's all over the place, and in particular, all of them are not doing video conferencing. Spiraling into thoughts of possibly not graduating this semester because of this. My mom's dying wish was for me to walk across the stage for my college graduation, but with all this going on, my university wants to do virtual graduations. My mom is heartbroken. All those things I never have time to do. I was lying to myself. I lack the mental energy to do more than the bare minimum society requires of me. That I really want to work from home permanently. This has been the best work week in a while. That my mother is an absolute idiot. I literally had to beg her under tears to wash her hands after grocery shopping. She thinks God will protect her. That was a week ago and it still infuriates me. Even if she magically doesn't get sick by it, she could still pass it on to someone else. How a grown adult doesn't understand that is beyond me. It's time to seize the day once this is over. I'm not going to hesitate to show the people that I love how I feel. Being able to talk to the people you love isn't the same as being there to hold their hand when they're alone, afraid, and in pain. And I miss having them there for me. That my bosses actually care. The CEO cried when he told us that we were switching to a skeleton crew, with the majority of people going home for 2 weeks. My manager came up to me and apologized for sending me home. You could tell they were both heartbroken. Yes, they are losing money, but the heaviness of the decision to send people home was felt. It was bittersweet. Now that I have set the boobs free many days in a row, I don't know how I'll go back to caging them within a bra ever again. That most employers don't give a shit if a pandemic seeps through their employees. How fast changes can be made politically, socially, and scientifically when we all collaborate together on one issue. My 5-year son is exactly like me and therefore I find it hard to get along with him for extended periods of time. That I actually love being in the house a lot. My life quote for 2020 has just been holy motherfucking shirt balls. This is a bad place. Grocery store staff are essential workers. Bless them all. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.